I'm gonna.
Hi, Jennifer LaHaye here with Why Dyslexia is Not a Dirty Word. So I'm doing something a little different today. I'm going to impart some wisdom and my good friend Heather is behind the camera today, but she's always camera ready, so I might snatch her up if that works out. But I want to share with you, this is actually a slide from a presentation that I give. And this is from Chall. It's Jean Chall. She's a research scientist. She talks about the 5 stages of reading development. I think this is an important idea to understand what the research behind this is and the process in reading. A lot of us want to jump right to comprehension, but we need to understand the process of the student and where they start. So the first thing is stage 1. It's the pre-reading 6 months to 6 years. This is when we say goo goo gaga, mama, dada. We have a lot of oral language with our child, and from baby, this is when we read books over and over and over again. We point to pictures and we have conversations and all those types of things. That happens right from when they're brand new all the way up until 6 years. And then our stage 1 it's the alphabetic principle. This is grades K1. This is when we introduce letters and letter sounds and putting some of those letters together that they form words. So this is still where we are teaching how to read. Our next stage is stage 2. And this is when we become more fluent in our decoding and reading words in grades 2 or 3. All of these stages, especially 1 and 2, is happening in the regular classroom. And part of this could be influenced by, you could think of it as the 3rd grade guarantee, because in the room or in the regular classroom, there's good reading instruction. There should be good reading instruction in the classroom to all kids. How to read. That's the expectation of those grade levels. Now, so that's why this is in red, learning to read. When we go down to the blue line, down here, stage 3, is reading to learn. This is a huge shift in the thought process and the learning and teaching process. I know when I taught 4th grade, the expectation for me as a teacher is students would come into the room and they should be able to read text independently, be it science, social studies, reading, and even math. And math can be some of the most complex reading involved with word problems, so it can be quite challenging for students. So stage 3 is grades 4 through 9. This is when they're reading independently from text. They can maybe summarize, they can understand, they can answer comprehension questions. So this carries through the end of elementary school to the beginning of high school. Then we go on to stage 4, and this is when we're reading more widely. You hear all the different English options for students that they can study, maybe Shakespeare, they do poetry, they do mythology, all those different pieces, parts, and they bring that reading in. It's going to be more complex text. Then we get into stage 5, and this is the most mature level of reading. This is your college age student where they can pick information from one author here and another information from maybe an opposing author and kind of do a compare contrast, think about that and come to your own conclusions, your own opinions. But what I want you to understand for those students with dyslexia, for those kids that struggle, the students that I would see that are their high school age, they might never leave stage 1 or stage 2 without effective instruction. And so this can be a problem when they are in stage 4 of life, when they're in the classroom in 10th, 11th, 12th grade, but they're only functionally reading at stage 1 or stage 2. So I think people need to understand the process in reading, the expectations of the student in the classroom. And I can speak very clearly on this as working in late elementary and working in the middle school age. This is pretty true to form. So this is a little nugget of information, if you will, about understanding what is the learning to read and reading to learn. And that's why dyslexia is not a dirty word.